and welcome to Diversity in the Community. I am so excited tonight to have one of my longtime friends um, visit me on Win TV, and her name is Imani Allen. And I will tell you, we were in a play at the Bushnell years ago. And I think at the time she was like 18, I was in my 50s. We were storytellers. And for me to contact her again or connect with her again after all of these years um, on Facebook, I was just so excited. So I would like to introduce you to my buddy, my ex storyteller partner, Imani Allen. Hi, sweetheart.
Hello. Hey, Mama Teresa. Thank you so much for having me on the show. Excited to connect and reconnect, and especially after all of these years and
Yes.
Facebook stalk you for a bit, and it's like, hey, let's connect. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Um, so tell me what you have been doing since we left the acting stage and what kind of business are you in?
All right. So I was definitely 18, 19, because I was 2009, 2010. Yeah, no, I was 18 because I graduated high school at 17. And when we did the play, it was such an amazing seed, especially concerning Black history. And it was then when I realized it's not that I didn't like history, it was that there was that representation that was missing. And I fell in love with our history as well as biblical history, because there's just something different, and there's something that I can actually connect with compared to what's being taught in schools. And so that experience, it definitely was an amazing seed that took root into who I am today, and how I go about things, how I go about my goals, the long-term things that I would like to do for our communities, and some of the things that I've actually done as well for our people. And then, as well as everybody else as well. But, you got to start with your home front. Yeah.
Now, what's the name of your? I love the name of your company. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. Yes, yes. So Priceless Faith Productions. So my first name means faith, and my middle name means priceless. And so I created this company after I decided to no longer pursue fame, after, because I was really heavy in theater. Like, by the time we did that play, I was actually casted 2 times. So I had like a hell week back to back, because I was in 2 plays, both important roles, and there was like 90 plus just words to memorize. And I'm like, yo, this thing is wild. And so after I moved to Houston and I realized that I did not want fame anymore, I decided to instead go on behind the scenes, which was something I've always been interested in, the multimedia production of things. And so that's how Priceless Faith Productions came born and everything like that. Yeah.
So, if someone were to become your client,
Okay.
what do you do for them? What do you promise them? Or
All right. All right. Well, once you become one of my clients, you're definitely family. You're not just a number to me. I take care of you, and I even have an expectation of growth on both accounts. You want to make me better. I also want to make you better. And that's, even if it's the things that I do, it's like, hey, this is how you do it, if you wanted to ever do it yourself. And I want you to feel empowered. So all of my clients, they are more of a family to me. And I look forward to when COVID's over, that I could have a really nice get together with all of my clients and just have everybody network and connect and have fun. And, I should do a virtual party. I should. I'm going to do a
yeah,
virtual
you should.
later.
You should.
Oh,
So, I
yeah.
mean, is it your clients? Are they people who have? I'm trying to understand
Okay.
what are you actually doing for them?
Oh, for them. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
I really create a lot of content. I have a background in graphic design that, I really actually invested in via self-taught. And it's probably like 80, 90% self-taught. A few people showed me a couple of things, but when it came to the technique and the investing, I actually put the time in for that and the efforts. So graphic design, I've designed logos, the cover. So like the whole overall branding aspect, web design, and I'm really focused heavily on creating the content for clients and companies so that they don't actually have to spend time trying to figure out what to say, what to post. how to post it. It's like, look, I can actually take care of that for you because I have experience in that, and I can do it in a fraction of the time so that clients can focus on their highest income producing activities.
Oh, okay. Now I
Yeah.
got a clear understanding. So you said you were like self-taught. You didn't go to school for any of that?
No, no, I did not. I did not. When I went to HCC, it was 2009, and I went for 3 semesters. I barely made it by because I just wasn't interested in the schooling. I was even in video class, and it was like but I didn't like the software that was being used because I was like, that's not the best. I don't really care about it. So I was using other stuff, diving in, going my own route, more of a defiant student, as I kind of have always been. But it's just like, hey, I don't really want to be here, and I just decided to go into work full time with the Mass Pike, and then I moved out to Houston, Texas. Yeah.
So you're actually in Houston now?
No, no, no,
Oh,
no, no,
oh, oh. I was okay.
no. But you know what? I still talk about Houston because it is a home for me, and
Hmm.
it was where I actually matured. I matured a lot in Houston. My number is still the Houston number because that's when the business started. It was out there. And so I'm like, I want to make sure I keep that and maintain that. That's always going to be the number. And I actually moved there about May 2012 and then moved back September 2016. So just about almost 5 years out in HTX. Yes.
So you are in math now?
No, actually, no, low key. I'm
Oh
actually
Lord, have mercy.
in Connecticut. I'm in Connecticut. So yeah, I did move back
Okay.
to, however, low key, I actually moved out to West Haven last February. And I've been here ever since. And, God called me out to Connecticut. And, ever since I moved out, God showed me a lot of things. And so being put into what I need to be put into and how to actually go about it, God is really showing me some amazing things on that. Yeah.
Okay. So somebody like me that I'm not running a business or anything like that. What do you do for just an average Joe like me? That um,
Okay.
what can you do to help me? Because I'm not computer savvy or anything at all, but I need help. So yeah. So what can you offer to me?
Okay, so for someone who doesn't know too much, or if they're like, I don't know what to do, I love to sit and talk. One of the things that I definitely take the time to do is make sure we have a conversation because I would love to see where you at, what your goals are, and how I can further help you achieve them. And so a lot of times there is that consultation. I do have a couple of clients where I'm actually coaching them on a few things that I know how to do so that they can actually do it themselves, so they feel empowered and have some success stories and they're happy with my work. And that makes me happy because that's what it's about. It's about meeting everybody where they are, whether you want to start a business, whether you want to take a course and just learn a little bit about the digital marketing or how to design graphics. I can help you with that. And that's what it's about. It's about the patience, and it's about taking that time to find out what it is that everyone's looking for at that time.
Okay, wonderful. Um, Now, when I looked out at your website, and I was looking at some of the topics that you um, had for the day. I guess you would say for the day of the session. And I would, if you don't mind, I would like you to
Not
just
at
kind of like elaborate on some of them.
all. Okay,
Um,
let's do it.
the calm before the storm.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
That's
can you tell me about that one? I thought it was very interesting.
oh, right
Yeah.
on. So those, for the most part, I do not plan those out. I do not
Okay.
plan
Okay.
topics out. Like, okay, what do I feel like talking about today? What is needed in the market? Where do I feel like I am? And so, and then I'll share what it is that I'm going through or how to encourage people through something that I've been through. And so last year was literally the calm before the storm. It was definitely rough and everything like that, but these last like 3 months have been like prepare, prepare, prepare. And now that we're into the new year, all that's left is just putting everything in the final places because the storm is coming for those that have been preparing. And one of my favorite quotes is, um, how does it go? When preparation meets opportunity, success always happens. That's by Henry Hartman. And so people want success, but they're not prepared for it. And as a creative, I definitely had to find out and hone in where it is, the path that not only God wants me to be, but I know that, it's just gonna be like, yeah, that's it. And then rock it out and then like fully commit to it and just and rock it out. I mean, it's biblical too. The Lord's harvest is plentiful, the
Mhm.
laborers few, and the laborers, the remnants and everything, like we are out there, So it's like now it's like, all right, let's go ahead and get it. And like connecting with other people who think the same. And because there's another favorite quote. I love a really good quote. I love a really good one. So it goes, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And that's by Paul Oberschneider. And so for me, these last few months have literally been, Lord, please show me whom I could go far with, because iron sharpens iron. I don't want to just be in the same position even a month from now. It's no, I need to be with the right people. And as God started to remove certain people from my life, the right people started to come in. God was answering those prayers. And like we're like, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. And then like we encourage each other. Sometimes we get a little competitive, but it's like we're literally helping each other grow. And so it's the calm before the storm, because we working. We working. People they're gonna be like, oh shoot. And it's like, oh yeah. And then just finding out, some of their stats, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like you guys are amazing. And it's like, if you hang around 5 successful people, you'll be the 6th. If you hang around 5 millionaires, you'll be the 6th. If you hang around five, the sum total of the 5 people we hang around. And it's not just who we hang around in our environment, but that's everywhere. Who do we have in our ears? Who are we watching? What are we listening to? What are we ingesting? Because we are the sum total of our environment. And then just finding the right people and connecting with them, where we're just like, let's go. I mean, within a week, we just start having these amazing conversations. It's like we've known each other for a very long time. And we're like, yo, let's do this, So yeah. Oh yeah, that's a really big one.
Now with COVID, which of course
Yeah.
is so terrible, a
COVID can go
terrible
to
thing.
hell.
Girl, I tell you, the other day, I actually had put a post out on Facebook. I was looking in the Harper Current, and they had, it was I think 8.5 pages,
Oh my
5 columns wide, small print. It was
gosh.
showing how many people had actually passed in
Jesus.
Connecticut, and you don't. And
Wow.
if that was so many pages with the tiny little print on all of those, if that
Wow.
was so many pages, can you imagine what it looked like if you were holding the names of all the people over the U.S. that had passed?
Jesus, man.
Oh my God! It just really brought everything
It's
into,
hurtful.
you know.
The whole situation, it's hurtful. Over the Thanksgiving holiday, I learned that I had lost three of my family members, two for sure to COVID. One, we don't know how she had passed. I haven't asked either. It was a rough time. And I'm like, okay, I have to work really hard not to slip into the complacency and then fall into a depression. So I'm like, I have to keep going, for my family, for my loved ones, and then
Hmm.
share the knowledge that I do have, because I believe that I had it actually last year around this time. I was driving, because I was driving Lyft and Uber. That was the plan. I was going to keep doing it for another year to build capital. But, we make plans, God laughs. And so,
Yeah.
but last December, one of my friends, she was like, hey, can you take me to the emergency room? And I'm like, of course. And so it was traffic. It was around 5 p.m. It was traffic. And she's just a coughing. And I've been a germaphobe for a very long time. I am unashamed about it. And my mom and I, we just realized just how early I was a germaphobe. When your parents would do this and then like wipe this stuff. I hated that. I'm like, that is disgusting. She's like, fine, we'll use yours. I'm like, ew, don't put your finger. Like, I'm like, that's just nasty. And so, between 5 and 8 years old. So I've always thought that that's disgusting. And so she was coughing the whole time. And I'm like, sis, I love you. We rolling the window down. Make sure you cough over there. But I
Yeah.
still got sick. And so they told her it was the flu. And I don't really get sick, because even if I do, I know exactly where it came from. I'm like, okay, I missed it there. And that's how bad the germophobia is. Like, I know what made me sick if I get sick. And that was wild, because I was working New Year's Eve. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna make this New Year's Eve money. It's one of the biggest Uber and Lyft earning nights. And so I had tissues like all the way up in my nose, but my nose kept running and I'm driving. And they partying, the people come in. I'm like, let's go, let's go, let's go, driving them safe and everything like that. I made it home. When I tell you, my body was done. My body was done. And I was out for about 4 to 5 days. And then there was that breathing situation. I'm like, I better not be dying. I'm not done, And so I started praying and I started getting into the meditation that I do sometimes. And it's the breathing techniques. It's the inhale, a deep inhale for about 4 seconds, holding your breath for 7 seconds, and then a deep exhale for 8 seconds. And that helped tremendously. And this was before learning how oregano, the herb oregano, is actually antiviral. And so I try to share that with people. I'm like, look, yes, wear the mask. Even if you don't feel like you need it, wear it for those who don't have a strong immune system, because people are at risk, even if it's not you. And so it's more of a consideration for other people. Like, it is a serious thing, or the fact that, even though this is a man-made disease, the fact that we still have to look out for our brother and our sister. I have someone I care about very much. Her husband ended up having to go to the hospital. And then turns out, then he had he had a diabetic situation for a very long time. They couldn't even see each other because of that, because they wouldn't allow anybody in. And I'm like, yo, that's horrible. And it's like, look, if you don't care, you don't want to wear the mask, do that at home. But like, think about everybody else that's affected. And that's just the bottom line. You could be with your friends, that's fine, but your family, or the older people that are out there, the young children, it's like, you got to think about them. And so, yeah, oregano oil is antiviral. There,
I
make sure,
learned something new.
yeah, pop that vitamin C. You want to know what's funny? This is what's hilarious. This is what's hilarious. I used to laugh when my great grandmother and when my grandmother, they would have, those pill sorters, and it had Sunday through Saturday. I used to think that was the funniest thing ever. I'm like, but now I need that, because I got vitamins. I'm like, okay, vitamin C, and then iron. Vitamin C helps the iron absorption. I'm like, folate for B12. And so I'm like, man, I need one of those pill sorters. It would just be extremely helpful, because like, opening each one, I'm like, that's a lot of time,
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Oh Lord. But
yeah.
so many people got a hold of me after they saw that post, and they said, few people said, I have somebody on that list, or I
Jesus.
know somebody on that list, and it just really hit home. And I was asking to see that people take advantage of this time that you're closed in
Yeah,
to be productive. I know you have one of the things you did, a show on, a session on
yeah,
productivity. So
yeah.
do you encourage people, when it's a time like this, you can't get out, you can't do what you used to do, to to
Absolutely.
be productive,
Absolutely.
during this time, right?
Absolutely. Boredom is a state of mind. The only times that I've been bored, it was just because I literally wanted to be bored. There's literally always something to do. And then
I
especially
can't
if
imagine you. Excuse me, but I cannot imagine you being bored. Ever since
it,
I known you, you were always up here somewhere.
exactly. I'm naturally energetic. I got to take another test when I, get a checkup, because I swear, like, that was the highest thing on the list. It was like over 100, my energy levels. I'm like, geez, Louise. And I'm like, that's outrageous. But, I leverage it. I leverage it into attention, to, bring the encouragement, and then that hopefully, and it actually does, over time bring in sales and stuff like that. But yeah, no, people definitely need to be productive. Don't just sit at home. Look, you ain't got to make no babies. Like, this is the perfect time to really just find something that you want to do. And just like looking at the state of North America as it is, and how many people have, relied on the government for anything. And then there was times I relied on the government for something, but it's like, that's not the way that we can actually succeed. It's just not. It's like, look, if we got to go someplace, we got to go someplace. Like, I actually did get the unemployment because I had a transitional period from Uber and Lyft stopping, and God was like, I need you to pray. And my mom was like, nah, you still got to make sure that, yeah, you know, you pray and everything like that, but you still need to make sure you take care of your responsibilities. So she's like, hey, hop on it for a little bit. And then they told me I was making too much. And I'm like, all right, fine. Don't give me no money. And so, but yeah, we definitely have to be productive. But even more so, this is the perfect time to take time out for ourselves, to take time out for the health, and to take time out for family. I don't think there's ever been a time, I don't think, I'm only 29, I only got 4 gray hairs. That doesn't mean I'm the wisest person in the world, but it's like, this is the perfect time to spend time with your loved ones, even if it's a video chat. And, it goes a long way. It is becoming a part of us. And then you have the clubhouse, that has really just like given that whole, like that vibe that I've personally missed. I would meet about 100 people a week, and we would talk in the car, because a lot of them were airport rides, and we would talk, make friends. Sometimes we would pray, and it would just be encouragement. And then sometimes we would hug, and I'm like, this is really nice to meet you, that type of jazz. And then to not meet anybody physically for a very long time, as an extrovert, introvert, whatever, I can be at home by myself, but I do love networking. I do love meeting people and hugging people. Like, that's like, oh my gosh, I miss
Oh, I
hugging
know.
people.
I miss hugging people. I miss
Yeah,
them long hugs, and then you end it with
yeah,
a type of, that's
yeah,
been tough. That's been tough for me too. So
yeah.
now the clubhouse. What
Yeah.
is that?
Oh, oh my God. Okay, it became my favorite app in 7 days. And I'll tell you why. Someone said it perfectly. I forget who, but she was saying how nostalgic it is. It brings us back to when we had the phones with the cords, and you would be up talking all night. And then, there's very few people that you can actually do that with, talk all night. But then you get on Clubhouse, everybody can do that. And then you meet the people in the same like industries, or the same interests as you, and you guys just get on there. You could start talking, or you could start learning from your favorite entrepreneurs or favorite people, authors, etc. And they're talking, and then sometimes you can actually meet people. Like, I was in the same room as Ava DuVernay, and I was like, OMG, like her name was right above mine, and I was like, Ava. I'm like, I'm like, we're not like next to each other, but they did a whole Lion King production, which was phenomenal. I mean, like, I was like emotional, like everybody was emotional about it, because these guys, they met on during one of the cotton clubs, and it's like you create this jazz atmosphere, it's jazz music. Everybody has to change their profile picture to a favorite jazz player, and it has to be black and white. And so some people will go up on the stage to speak, and then they'll be like, yeah, I'll have a rum and coke, and so it's like almost like the that atmosphere. And then they kind of have fun talking and communicating with each other. And these guys met, and this dude came on, and his voice is amazing. He's never done voiceover acting. And they were like, oh my God, you sound like Mufasa. And then they just started going over a certain line, and then it turned into a whole production of The Lion King. They literally had a matinee and an
Oh my
evening
God.
show. But that wasn't even the best part. The fact that they have this thing called PTR, means pull to refresh. You know how, like, when we refresh our screens. And so they had it when you first started. You would see the directors. It was no, I want to say her name was Noelle, and then a couple other people. And then everybody's profile picture was a red curtain. And then they had like audio in the background, like you're in a theater. And then when things started, you pull to refresh, and the pictures would change as the scenes will go on. And so they had an actual live like band and choir. I mean, they killed it. Like, people from all over the world. Like, that was like the one of the best things ever. And I'm like, I'm so glad I made it onto Clubhouse. And yeah, so it really is something that's amazing. There are prayer rooms, and then there are rooms for, people getting naughty and stuff like that. But there's rooms for, and so, yeah, it's a social network. It's like Facebook groups, but it's all audio. They take away the video aspect, and it's like you literally just have your voice and your
So you
profile
don't
pic.
actually see the people
No,
you're talking to?
no.
Really?
All you hear is tone. All you you know you feel, you can still feel the people and the vibes in the room. and people just connect. Like it's amazing. I love it. And like you make families, you make friends, and there's different groups, and everybody will ping you. It's like, hey, come on in this room, come on in this room, or you'll ping people when you're getting gems, and people are like, oh my gosh, you meet amazing people. And then there's people that get passionate because sometimes there's arguments. It's still in beta mode, and so people are figuring out different ways to navigate and still learn the app. And then there was a group I was in, and it was starting to get late, a little past my bedtime, but my friends, they pinged me, and I'm like, I'm not always available for this one, so I was like, I'm gonna make it in today. This dude comes on, and he just comes off like a total jerk, and then that just sets the whole room off, and we're like, yo. And so like we all got, we were like, yo, don't be talking to nobody like that. And like I called him an a-hole, to be honest. I'm like, yo, that doesn't mean you got to come off the way you did. And then after a few moments, everybody said why they came off the way they did. He was like, I'm just passionate. I'm like, well, there's a way to talk and communicate. What I'm saying? You can't just come up in a room and then just be rude to somebody. Like, this is a family atmosphere, no matter what level we're at, and we're literally trying to help each other
So
grow.
you've never seen any of those. You've
Mm-mm.
never seen that is
Oh, no,
different.
no. You can, of course, you can exchange information, and then like in our profiles, you can connect your Twitter, your Instagram. And so I actually did end up getting a client from Clubhouse, and like we FaceTimed there, we Zoomed, because he's one of my clients and stuff like that. But everybody else, no, 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 we just connect, and it's like, hey, add me in my bio, add me on IG, send me a DM. Some people put their numbers in the bio, but it
Wow.
really is. It's like, if you really want to connect with somebody, it's like, hey, yeah, let's connect. Yeah.
Wow. That's really, see, I'm so far removed.
Like,
I'm so ancient, but it's exciting to learn about all this stuff.
oh,
Um, you had one down here that says it's imperative to be free.
I think that was the one I cut my hair on. Yeah. Yeah. That was, I think that was the 31st.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, you know what? Because entertainment is still the number one industry in the world. And when people go online, they are looking to either be entertained, that's number one, or like educated, or they want something exciting. And I'm like, well, I got to make sure that I keep it fun and exciting. And I'm like, hey, how about I just cut my hair? I've been needing a haircut. I've been saying it in the videos. I'm like, oof, this fuzz is getting left and right. And so I was like, it's imperative to be free. And I was just cutting my hair while live, but the camera was, a little bit further back than it is right now.
Mhm.
And I was getting it, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get a little bit lower. And I switched it to the guard, and then I was working it, but then I was like, wait a second. I'm like, OMG. I'm like, I practically scalped myself, and I'm like, I do know how to cut my hair. And I'm like, let me see if I can fade it, because I started fading this side. I'm like, okay, I can do a little fade or something like that. But then I was like, you know what? Whatever. And I was like, hey, let this be a great example. Let's leave all our mistakes in 2020s, y'all. So, but I just wanted to encourage people, like, they get shy going live, or they get shy sharing who they are. And it's like, look, that is what people need to see. That is how people are going to relate to you. That's how people are going to connect to you when they see you live. And it's one of the best ways to build engagement on Facebook. I went live for 45, no, wait, excuse me, 42 to 43 times in December. And then 2 other times I just posted some videos, and the engagement was off the roof, almost 400 comments from all of that. As when I tallied everything up, and like we talked about great things, people were encouraged. Kina was on that one, the imperative to be free. And I shared the story
My girl
about,
Kina.
I love Kina. Oh my God. I'm like, woman, I love you. And she's always been just an amazing person. And I shared the story about how right before, I think it was our last rehearsal, how she saw that there was Annie auditions at the Bushnell. I was like, girl, go do it, right? I was like, I'll keep watch, just go do it. And so she's like, I don't want to do it. I'm like, yes, you do, go do it, right? And then like, I'm like, oh, gee, you literally have the voice of an angel. And they offered her a part and everything like that. And I'm like, yo, you're so freaking awesome. And it was for, I think 17 or 18 and under. I was like, dang, I would have loved to have been Mrs. Hannigan. You know, that would have been a whole lot of fun to play. But like for her to do that was huge. And I was like, you guys, there's just something special about being free. I still get shy. People don't believe it. And that's just because
Yeah, that's hard to believe.
I just stopped thinking. I just stopped thinking and I just go. I'm just like, whatever. And then I just go. I'm just like, hey, you know, we're gonna make mistakes. There's nothing that's gonna be perfect. You know, I don't really consider myself a natural on camera. You know, because I stutter. I'll stutter or I'll jumble my words or I'll get too excited and you know, and then I'm just like, all right, like you just gotta get on there and have fun, you know. And so
Yeah, but
yeah.
you're very encouraging, and you're just very natural with it, and and you're adorable. That's like
Oh,
I said the last
thank you.
time I saw you, you had hair down here, and
Oh
but
yeah.
I love the short haircut. It's just
Thank
adorable. It
you.
really is.
Thank you. Oh yeah, I'm free from that perm. Oh my God. Oh, I'm so glad to be free from the perm. I was like, I'm gonna go get natural, but I didn't know what I was doing. And so I finally I did the big chop, but I still had I had new growth. And so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna be natural. Went to Houston. I was washing my hair every day. Mama Teresa, I was washing my hair every day. And Texas water is actually really bad because of Galveston. Like the water is bad. Like the first
Uh-huh.
few, your skin may peel because of the chemicals in the water. Like everybody's told to drink from bottled water.
Oh
And
my God.
oh yeah, the water's bad. And so I'm towel drying. I'm washing my hair every day, and then I'm towel drying it. The look is cute. The look was cute. I had a cute little fro, but then I realized that my hair was dead. And so I decided to cut it. I was like, I could do this. You know, I got some scissors. I looked like a troll. It was bad. I was like, oh, that's not cute. My friend was like, you look like Goku. That's cute. I said, I don't want to look like Goku. I'm like, I am a lady. And then one of my friends, Sojo, she actually encouraged me to actually, you know, let it get to a low cut. And, you know, I was super insecure about it because I'm like, you know, you lose your hair. I'm like, you know, your hair is a big part of you, especially as African Americans. Like, you know, we love our hair, and then for it to be all cut. And I swear she set it up. I'm gonna ask her. I'm gonna ask her if she ever did that because this was when I was working at that horrible place that I shall not mention. But it was overnight, and a few guys hit on me, and I'm like, okay, I can rock with this. I'm like, I can rock with this short hair. But then this dude that's about the same age as my grandmother hit on me, and I was like, I'm done. I was like, I literally asked myself, and I want to be a famous actress. I was like, nah, put a hoodie on, and so so that was that experience.
I love you. You make me laugh. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Oh, it's great. We need
Uh
laughter too. Like laughter,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
could not survive without God, laughter, and music. Oh my God, it'd be
Yeah. Some
horrible.
people can down Facebook and they say Facebook whatever, but
Yeah,
when you're able to connect with someone that
yeah,
you've been close to and you know lose contact with them and all of a sudden see them,
yeah.
Facebook is a wonderful thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you're hydrating. I see a lot. That's what I'm trying to do too.
Oh, hi.
Drink a
Oh,
lot
hi.
of water. Yeah, I actually make myself a little note to yep, I make myself a note, and before
Mhm.
I study every morning, and at the
Mm,
top of my study page, I do some
mm.
affirmations, whatever. Stop at the
Yeah.
top of my page, I say, drink water. So I got it written all over the place, so I'll remember, you know, to drink water.
Oh,
So
I think I need to do that. I'm only hydrating because remember I got the time wrong. I was to go live. I was I was about to go live, and then I was about to go eat something real quick because a new friend we met on Facebook. She challenged me to do this 5-day sugar detox with her group, and there's a whole bunch of people doing it. There's prizes involved, so I was like, yeah, okay, I'm playing to win. But like, you know, I was angry about half the day because I'm like, I just want carbs, I want sugar, I need something, and then I'm like, OMG. And of course you get the withdrawal because you got a headache. And I'm like, Lord, but no, I do try to drink more water.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, the hydration, it is key. It is important for us to hydrate. And
Yeah.
I got excited, so it's like, okay, let me take a sip to relax while I wait for the next question. Because I get excited.
I
Oh my.
love it. I love it. I know what we'll call this show conversations with this is gonna be conversations because I'm really enjoying this, really.
Yes,
Um
yes, I love it.
2020 lessons.
Ooh.
That was the topic you did. 2020 lessons. You probably got so many we won't have time to put them in, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah, we would be here all night. So I've learned to, to fully trust in God. That was definitely, something that, we could trust in God, but can you really trust in God? You literally have nothing and you're freaking out and you're emotional and you really don't have any idea what's going to come next. When I was driving, I was also renting. I was renting a car. And so that was maybe about 250 per week. I was paying almost about 1,000 per month. It covered the insurance and any repairs needed, as I was driving. So I always made sure to make, a certain amount, but like I was getting it up to where I was making about 1,000, maybe 1,200 a week, just driving. That was before expenses. And, what got wild was when things started happening, it was getting crazy. But before then I was trying to get the lease because I was by the contract, I was actually able to start to lease to own it. And, he kind of acted funny about it because of COVID and everything like that. He was like, look, you don't got to drive it or anything like that. Just, wait it out. But I was still trying to get out there and make money. And so I actually ended up in a car accident. It was, I think I want to say March when they had that random snowstorm. And so I was driving and we weren't going fast, which is good. It was, we're on a highway. And so I'm like, why are they driving so slow? It's just snow. Like, y'all know we're in New England, right? I'm in the fast lane. We're all like, maybe 15 miles an hour. And I'm like, thank you. I'm like, get out the way, bro. But by the time, so I hit about 25. And by the time I saw what was happening up ahead, I hit the brake. I'm like, Jesus, right? And so I'm like, because I said, I got three choices: crash into the car that's already in front of me, already destroyed, move over where there's three SUVs and the one in front of me literally just went over there and almost caused an accident there, or try to get on the brake and then try to go right around the car and hopefully not smash into the feeder. Well, I definitely got on the brake and definitely got into the feeder. It bent the feeder. Now here's the thing, this is a great lesson. I don't, what, I part of me, the part of me that comes from the hood was like, I should have driven off. And I'll tell you why. Because they gave me a ticket. They gave me a ticket for property destruction. I'm like, oh, so I should have hit the guy. I'm like, I should have caused an accident. I literally made sure to basically save lives, right? And then I had a passenger in the back seat. This was the funny thing. I'm like, you know what? I'm done. I was like, I'm so done. Because I was like, you all right, sis? And she was like, oh, I'm good. She was like, I just can't be caught. I can't I can't let the cops talk to me. I was like, hold on a second. I'm like, all right, stay safe. She she grabbed her stuff. She dashed across the rest of the highway. It was like 4 lanes. And she straight disappeared. I'm like, I'm done. I was just like, I can't do this no more. I couldn't even open the door after a couple more days. I had to use the passenger side, and I didn't want to tell my mom or my family what happened because they were like, "You need to come to the family house." And I'm like, I just finally moved out. I'm on my grown stuff. I'm trying to be grown here. I'm like, I ain't telling them nothing. And so yeah, and I had hit on one of my friends. I'm like, hey, I'm sending a video. I'm like, can you fix this? Was like, I don't do that type of damage. I'm like, dang. So I gotta let the car people know. But because yeah. So the part of me was like, I should have just taken off. Nobody would have known. The car was still drivable. It's a Prius. Priuses are great. That is the car, the best car that anybody should get for their first car. Excellent on gas, barely need to change the brakes, and it could beat people at a street race because I've done a couple, low key races and stuff like that. But like
Low
for
key,
pardon, what'd you say? I missed it.
low key races.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, oh yeah,
oh
yeah.
God.
I wanted to be in like a real street race, but because I'm African American, and it's just like okay, maybe in another country, but like I would love to be in a street race. Yeah, that would be a whole lot of fun.
Only you would get in an accident, and your passenger said they can't get caught by
I
the police.
I've had some crazy passengers. And to be honest, she's not the craziest one I've had. I've had some. I'm like, my God. And I play worship jazz because nobody's gonna come in the car acting all crazy. And so it's nice and relaxing. Everybody's heart rate is nice. Oh, yeah, I got you crying laughing. Everybody's heart rate is nice and relaxed. And like the drunk people thought it was Kenny G, your baby making music. I'm like, no, this is holy music. I'm like, this is a friend of God, Levine. And they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, it's okay. Enjoy the music, right? And but yeah, she wasn't the worst passenger I've ever had. 2020 plus the when I've learned how much to trust my gut because whenever I didn't trust my gut when driving Uber, I had a horrible person. And I finally learned to trust my gut because I've had some crazy people. I had two drunk people and I should have trusted my gut. And she's like, and she is just drunk and she's like, Uber can bleep, bleep, bleep. I'm like, what the heck? I ain't got jack to do with it. Their family just didn't want to deal with them too. And so
Oh God.
they were
Oh
like, they're
man.
not riding back with my boyfriend. He's a jerk. And they're like, we got you with Uber. And so it
Oh
took them
God.
forever to get in the car. And I had threw water in the passenger seat so that they wouldn't want to sit there. And so I was like, oh, sorry, the seat's wet. You're going to want to sit in the back, right? And the chick that basically helped her wobble to the car, she was like, oh, she's wearing a jacket. She's fine. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, you got to put your seatbelt on. The guy in the back, her boyfriend, was hiccuping the whole time. I'm like, bro, if you need me to pull over so that you can throw up, just let me know. Like, for real, like, please don't
Oh
do. He's like, I'm fine. And like, he kept like hiccuping and I'm driving slow. And so we finally get them to their destination. He helps her out the car and he lets go. She falls back. I took off. I was just like, bye. I was like, y'all were horrible. I was like, I can't. They were horrible. I'm like, dang, you just let your girl just like straight fall back onto the ground. I'm like, yo, they were next level drunk.
Oh,
But yeah. 2020 lessons.
oh
I
God.
the importance of making the tough decisions. I've definitely had trouble in the past and sometimes it can still creep up with making the decisions that I need to make, even if it may or may not hurt someone's feelings. At the end of the day, it's about what's going to make me happy and what's going to get me to where I need to be. Everybody's got my number. you know I'm not hard to find, like one of the hardest decisions too. And I'm like, why? And it's like, why is that even a difficult decision? I started to get this tool for Facebook, and it allows you to actually remove all the people that are inactive on your friends list, as well as like you could have it set up so that it could actually add the people that are in your target audience, because it's a business tool. And that just, it brings in that organic marketing. And I'm like, that's genius. And so I was like, wow, man, people's feelings are definitely going to be hurt if I just start deleting them. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make a personal page. We're just going to put the family and friends there. Like that's, just from my hometown. That way they don't feel some type, people still feel some type of way. But I mean, it is what it is. Like, I'm working on doing some really big packages, and I need that 5,000 people, that limitation. I want 5,000 people that are either in the same lane as me, or we're like, we got these big goals together, and that are my clients. I need people that are going to be my big time clients. And so, it's a whole nurturing, it's a whole process. And so that took me a while to finally do, because I just started, moving family over. I'm like, delete, 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 and moving them over. And as well as even in relationships, you can hope for something, even if it was there at the, and, early on. But, there is that sometimes the reality is people change and windows close. And, hey,
So
sometimes
true.
I was like, whoa, this happened second time, twice confirmed. When there was that separation, the breaking of the soul tie, things were just like, I'm like, all right, got it confirmed, and so now it's like, bet. So those are like, some of the main 2020 lessons I've had. Yeah.
Yeah, that what you just said with that is excellent, because sometimes God put people into your life for a season,
Yeah.
and you know when it's that time for the separation to happen. You can feel it, and you just have to admit to it and say, okay,
Yeah.
it's time, but
Yeah.
you gotta be real about it. Let me see. Um, Stop hindering yourself.
Mm. Hmm. Yeah. I've hindered myself for a very long time. And it's taken a very long time, well, it feels like to me, to um, finally understand that, we can pray all day, but faith without works is dead. Faith without works is dead. That includes prayer. And at the same time, the right prayers matter. For whatever reason, I had for a long time felt like when I get there, I'll be able to enjoy the process. I'll be able to spend more time with family. I'll be able to be happier. I'll be able to be at peace, when the prayer that I needed to pray was, Lord, please help me to enjoy the process. Please help me to find those good moments as I'm working there, and my nephew, I love him. I love him so much. It had been maybe a year since and then everything with COVID and everything like that, because I always go to his birthday party. But with COVID, the situation, they kept it small. And so, seeing him, he's 4 now. And I'm like, you remember me? He's like, yeah, I remember you, auntie. He's so cute. And he's, of course, kids repeat what, their parents say, and, I was watching him, and he did not take his nap. He played auntie. He got me good. I'm like, you supposed to be taking a nap. He's chuckles. I'm like, okay, all right, we playing auntie today. It's all right. You
Uh,
cute though. And he was just like, thank you for coming. And I'm just like, OMG. I'm just like, I love this little boy. And it's like, everything that I do is for, my loved ones, and then other people when I meet them. And so it's like, this is a perfect opportunity to make sure that I can make time. So, I'm gonna try to even more so, like, call and be like, hey, how about I read you a bedtime story? And I did that not too long ago, and he loved it. And it's even just that, even though we're all far apart, that's really where it's at. It's about those special moments when you see your family, even if it's a video chat. Like when I saw when you posted, I was like, oh my God, I'm like, hey, do you want a video chat? And I'm like, because not being with your loved ones, especially now that, all we have is time. Everybody's not working all the time. We literally have time. People have time so much that, hey, they all took trips down to the Capitol. And I'm like, okay, but, but it's just like, we shouldn't hinder ourselves from the things that ultimately do make us happy. For me, it's sharing my time with people that I love. That's one of the things that makes me happy. In addition to singing, even though I cannot hold a key, but I don't care. I'm gonna sing anyway. I will rock out a karaoke, break the ice for everybody else, even in a country accent, and have some fun. And but yeah, no, I would hinder myself in the form of being hesitant about trying new things or being the only one to try something new, or that I know of, the only one to pioneer into a situation or something new, and, you know, going for it. You know, I was a little insecure about it. And now it's just like, hey, it is what it is. And but ever since I stopped hindering myself in those ways, things just get better and better. And it's like, you know, it's cool to enjoy the process. It's cool to still have those great moments throughout the day, and still have that connection, even though I'm literally in my room pretty much most of the time. Even my roommates know it. Like I legit keep to myself. I even got my dishes. I keep my dishes to myself too. You know, I keep pretty much everything, my toilet paper, soap, all that. And so, hey, you know, I wake up, I be chilling. You know, my room looks more like an office, and I just happen to sleep here. And so, you know, just pioneering and going for it, and just stop hindering yourself. And even if you have to force yourself to do it, you know, hey, force yourself to do what needs to be done, because you do feel good when you are productive. And I'm one of those people, I gotta work. I can't just I can't just like sit still and do nothing. That's just horrible. I can't live like
Right.
yeah.
I got one more.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Oh, I actually got two more, but I don't know if I have enough time. But
Oh,
um,
ask whatever you want, love. I'm all yours.
um, what was a sign to bury you?
Pardon? Guess
It
one more time.
said, what was a sign to bury you? Birth
Oh,
you.
oh yeah. Okay, so that was my apostle Ron Tolliver. Shout out Apostle Pops. I call him Apostle Pops. But you know, I followed him. I followed him on Facebook a few years back, and because someone had shared something, or there was something that he said, I'm like, man, that I'm like, I agree with that. And for a while I'm just like, man, I'm like, yo, he's all up in my business spiritually, but I agree. I'm like, love, yes. I'm like, preach. I'm like, preach, apostle. Like, you helping me right now, you confirming some things. And over time, you know, I actually ended up asking him a question, because I was having an issue with my ex. And he was like, you know, I want you to go ahead and sign up for a counseling session or whatever. And, you know, from there, he was like, I just want you to know that I definitely feel as though you're one of my spiritual daughters. And I'm like, hey, that's what's up. You know, that's cool. Because I was actually tithing into his ministry. There was a ministries I was tithing into, but I'm like, Lord, where do I need to tithe? And, you know, I was just tithing. I'm like, all right, because you got to give God your 10% in the offering. So I'm like, I'm like, this is exactly where I need to. And so before we even had that conversation, I was already tithing. And you know, we talk about a lot of stuff. You know, I keep it real, and he's able to be honest with me, and he's a genuine man of God. And like, you know, we celebrated him, the whole, you know, our whole, like, you know, congregation as virtual. We all celebrated him for his birthday this past year, and like, it was just everybody, all of us, we were all on the same page. Like, nobody has been as genuine as him concerning our journeys in life. And, you know, what I will be writing a book, finishing up a book, you know, and one of them talks about a little bit about that. So what was assigned to bury you actually birthed you. And that's just something that I'm like, I know all about that. I've lived it. And it's like, hey, from that, you know, from whatever was trying to kill the path, the purpose, I've literally fought beyond that. And from there, something beautiful happened and emerged. And so, yeah. So that it just resonated with me. It's like, hey, story of my life. So it's like, right on. We ain't going nowhere.
Okay, my last one is,
Yes, ma'am.
um, do you have, well, I'm going to say, do you have any encouraging words for folks out there? And I
Okay.
want you to talk about your plans for the future.
Okay. Okay. So encouraging words. That was the first part. So yes, absolutely. Like, if you don't want to be the same, if you don't want to be in the same position, same person, you know, it's imperative to do something about it now. If you don't want to be where you are a year from now, that means you have to do something different. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing each and every time, expecting a different result. You just why? That's not living. Living is doing the uncomfortable things, getting out there, diving into the unknown, taking those risks, because so many people settle. And the older that we get, you see more and more people settling in every area. And I'm one of those people that for whatever reason, I just could never do it. Like, I will go and risk everything just to avoid settling, even working a job that, was easy, or offered me a supervisor position, etc., or say, hey, you can actually go all the way up here. All you got to do is go ahead and put the time in. And it's like, nah, God has me something, has me doing something else. And so if you're like me, don't settle. Get out there, get into the unknown. That's where you're going to find so many blessings, because God has called you to do things that are actually bigger than you. And, so yeah, definitely get out there and do that. What was the second part?
It was plans for your future. Plans for
Plan,
the future.
plans. I mean, I've made plans and God has laughed.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
You know, really, my plan each day is to find a great moment and enjoy the process, and try to get productive, so staying focused. That's just like kind of like my daily thing, just working intentionally staying focused, intentionally setting that me time, intentionally, trying to do whatever it is God has called me to do, and intentionally finding those people to encourage. I had asked, what was it? Facebook. I had asked, I said, hey, if there are a few ways to describe me, what would you describe me as? Everybody, like pretty much everybody, about like 90% plus of the comments, not 90 comments, but 90% of the comments there, people were like encouragement, inspiration. And so, it just further confirmed that, that is the bulk of what I need to put out there. So my plans is keep encouraging, especially on higher levels. That's where it's at. Yes.
Well, I tell you, it has been a privilege having you on the
Oh,
program
you're so
tonight.
sweet.
Oh my
I
God.
feel privileged.
Uh,
Stop it. I feel
and
privileged.
I remember our days of rehearsing, learning lines, and messing
Mhm.
up. And we went down to didn't we go down to the Capitol too or something and do a quick little thing? I have a picture of us
Yeah,
down there.
we did.
Yeah,
We did.
with
We did. I
Beatrice
was a
Mizzou and there's a bunch of us down there. But anyway,
Mhm.
um, this has been so inspiring. I haven't laughed this much in a long time. I thank
Oh,
you for being
okay. We need to
open,
go to dates.
yeah, open, honest,
Yes,
just
yes.
yourself,
Yeah.
And I'm just so proud of the woman you have become.
You about to make
And
me cry.
no, stop, oh stop, oh stop. And so wonderful to connect with you again. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the conversation and
Yeah.
everything. And make sure
Wise.
you tell your mom I said hello.
Will do. Will do.
Yep,
Yes.
yep. So I thank you, and I thank
Thank you.
you guys,
Thank
and I hope whoever watches this program just sit back, relax, listen, enjoy, um, enjoy our laughter,
you.
enjoy.
Yeah.
I hope you learn as much as I learned tonight. But I really thank all of you guys for tuning in, and thank you. Thanks again for my guest, my beautiful guest. Um,
Much
yeah,
appreciated. Mwah.
yeah, love you too, honey. So you guys have a good night, and see you next time. Good
God bless.
night.